So, what are some of the things that you've been watching this week? Are you still on your usual we method of, I don't know what to call it, your snack, your guilty pleasure
Like
of reality shows?
Yes.
Because my diet consists of watching Last of Us on Sundays.
I think I'm going to start watching it.
Oh my goodness. I I hadn't cried like I did since the finale of Six Feet Under. Like it like genuinely, and it all accompanied with a song too. Like whenever I hear that song that was in the finale of 6 Feet Under, I'm just like catatonic almost. Yeah,
I
it's like,
see it.
oh no,
They
the
used
Fisher
to play
family.
that all the time in the dining hall. They used to have this thing called MTVU, and they'd play like music videos in the dining hall, and they always played that one. It must have come out like in that like 2005, 6 ish. So they played it all the time.
I was having a board game night. This was years ago, and it was like my turn, and that song came on, and I'm just like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah."
What a party tune!
And it was like I had like Pandora on when people still use Pandora, and all I could just see was her like driving her little Prius across
Yeah.
to LA, and Keith getting shot, and spoilers for 6 Feet Under. I'm sorry.
It ended approximately 20 years ago. So,
Alan Ball's first show about death, I should say, or even, yeah, it was. I think it was. Okay, so that guy created 6 Feet Under, True Blood, and he wanted to do another show about like death, like something having to do with that. And HBO was like, no, man, like we're good.
No, we'll let someone else do that.
Yeah, come on, let's.
All of our shows are dark.
So 6 Feet Under, or not 6 Feet Under, Sundays was The Last of Us, and oh my god, it was so good. It was like, yeah, it's like an apocalypse. You don't want to deal with that, but it was like this beautiful like Sundance movie, like plopped down into the middle of it. It was beautiful and it was lovely, and it had a Linda Ronstadt song.
Oh,
it was so nice. It was like,
my dad loves Linda Ronstadt.
Really?
He does. Whenever she's on, he's like talks about how much he loves her.
To be honest,
she can't sing anymore.
You and your dad could probably watch this episode, know nothing about anything really, just that it's like kind of an apocalypse situation, and love this episode.
Oh, he said he wants to watch it. He's going to watch it on demand, he said.
Yeah, I love it. Yesterday, my dad was like, hey, the internet's not working. I'm like, okay. Can you like fix it? What's the password? The password has not changed since I installed that router and everything like that for years. So it says it's not working. I go, a day, your internet's probably out. Well, can you like come over? Yeah, I can come over.
I know.
Or so are you still, you're watching your reality?
I am. One of my favorite shows returned after a few years of hiatus.
Oh, what?
One of my favorite reality shows. It's not my favorite show, but
okay.
It's called Are You the One?
I've never heard of that.
Okay. The premise is that there are 10 guys and 10 girls in a house, like somewhere pretty tropical or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And that going into the house, they've met with like matchmakers or like professional matchmakers, and someone in the house is their perfect match, like compatibility wise, but they don't know who it is. And so they're also all early 20s and terrible drinking and hooking up with each other. But each week they do challenges and they get to go on dates, and then they get to go in the truth booth where they find out if like one couple gets to go in and they find out if they are or are not a perfect match. And then every week they do a matchup ceremony where they sit with a match, and then they shine beams of light in the air to tell them how many of them are perfect matches, but they don't know who it
Okay.
is. And if they
Okay.
if they find their perfect match after whatever it is, 10 weeks, 11 weeks, they win $1 million. They split $1 million or something like that.
That sounds pretty great.
It's fun to watch, especially because I'm above most of their ages, so it's really ridiculous how, like, I mean, not that I'm any better at finding the one than they are, but they're ludicrous people.
Have you ever watched Love is Blind?
No, haven't delved into that.
I almost want to say after we finish the first season of this show, I kind of want to watch it because it is incredible.
Okay.
It is nuts. It has some of that, what you're talking about. Like they can't see each other and they like, oh my God, it's so good. The Bachelor has started again, and I have not watched it. And it is like, I was like, oh, who is this guy? It is the most like plain Jane white person.
Yeah, I saw a clip today and I was like, that's the what is he? Who is
That's
he?
been the consensus. I don't know his name. I don't know what it was. Just like for listeners, I know this makes
like
great
his
radio.
Name is Nick.
Like, yeah. Like, that show does
not
need.
They've all been bachelors, but
yeah.
that's kind
no,
of
exactly. And and apparently people were I still go on the Bachelor subreddit because it's a hive of villainy and just people were like making a big deal. Oh, one of the girls already has more followers than him. I'm just like, man, that hot minute I watched The Bachelor and The Bachelorette was okay. The best part is the spinoff show, Bachelor in Paradise. One year they had different hosts like for the different weeks. Like Lil Jon, give me a Lil Jon led Bachelor in Paradise every year.
Yeah. Who hosts The Bachelor now?
No idea. That's how far that like I have no idea.
The last one I watched, which was Katie Bachelorette, it was
Tayshia
Caitlin and Tayshia were co-hosting.
Yes.
But I didn't know Tayshia because I didn't watch whatever season she was on. But I knew Caitlin. But it was actually kind of nice for the Bachelorette because then when the Bachelorette was like sobbing on the bathroom floor, Caitlin and Tayshia could go comfort her. I don't know.
I like Tayshia. I knew it was never going to work with her. The guy that she chose on her season. The guy that she chose on her season was sober. He ran a sober living or rehab facility. He lived on the East Coast. She was West Coast. And I'm just like he was such a nice guy. He loved her, but you knew that it was just destined to not work.
I hated the guy that Caitlin chose. I don't think they got married. I honestly don't know, but he was really creepy. And
that was Caitlin Bristow?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the guy who she chose was Sean Booth, but he was like weird and controlling, which is kind of hard to be on a show where she's supposed to be completely in control. But it just somehow, he was yucky.
Yes. So yeah, we'll get started with this week's episode. So you alerted it. Sorry, I can't talk right now. I didn't even notice. I was watching a couple of these back to back. You alerted to me that this was episode 4 and not episode 3, correct?
Yes, because when I started watching, they did a recap of what had happened previously, and I thought, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
And then I went to double check I was on the right episode, and I noticed there was no episode 3, and we were jumping right to episode 4.
Yeah, and there was no episode 3 because there were some unsavory things from the charter guests in season 3 said about trans people, a trans person specifically that they had like picked up on their charter. Man, but then like you contrast that with some of the stuff said this episode is like, okay.
I know it must have been when I was looking it up, the producers. I mean, it must have been so vile because There are some off-color things that definitely are said on these shows still, and they show people in their
Yeah.
true light, but it must have been just, I don't know what. I don't know why they couldn't just edit that part out and let me see what I missed.
Unless these, like you said, unless these people were just monsters.
Yeah. But something they showed on the previously on was that CJ and Sam made out.
Yeah. That come on, guys.
Like, at least just do like a 5-minute episode where I can see how that happened. I mean, I don't want to see it. I just need
we don't want to see it. So, I mean, okay. So let's jump in here. Like, now that you talked about CJ and Sam making out, do you think when Kat was talking to her about it, do you think Kat was jealous? I got a little bit of, oh, so like you made out with them. Oh,
I feel like she's jealous, but I also feel like she's just jealous because she's lonely, like, and he's just there. I can't imagine she actually would like him on land.
On land? That's pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, it's the sea. The sea does crazy things. So the episode kind of opens with Captain Lee giving like a fake fire drill, and he was laying up at night and goes, "The little punk Alex, I'm gonna
F around with him."
Lee does not like Alex.
No. At
all. Like, he is completely like, yeah, he has a big boat license, but I didn't mean, he's like, that doesn't mean shit. So this week's charter, I think this is like some of the worst. Do guests get much worse than this?
There are occasionally very
unsavory guests,
vile guests.
Yeah.
But yeah, these were pretty vile. Like, pretty much everything they did was just like, ugh.
Yeah, like, okay, so it comes out that the charter this week are Adrian's friends.
Which I can't fathom.
Yeah. I mean, Kat made the comment like, oh, if these are her friends, imagine her enemies. It's like, well, I mean, you live with a couple enemies or one enemy of her, like. But yeah, like, so it's Simon, and Adrian speaks very highly of Simon as a person and a charter guest. Let's get it out of the way right now. Simon is a absolute tool. He is a maniac. He's just maniac a nightmare.
With no taste.
Yeah, maniac, and hangs out with people of no taste.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
no
my
manners. Gosh. Just new money. So new money.
Yeah, tech money. Even though, like, even
as
worse.
Someone who has no money, these people are very new money.
He's a tech bro. It's like,
yeah, and his friends maybe have money, but I'm not sure. No,
that's
why they put up with him.
Lobster dude has money.
Oh my gosh, this man! He dipped his lobster in ketchup.
Okay, so
he wouldn't eat a lobster taco because it had guacamole, as he said on it. I think pretty sure it was just avocado.
Yeah.
Made Ben like give him naked lobster, and he dipped it in ketchup.
One of the charter guests, I don't eat that shit. And
they all said that. Even Simon said, I don't eat salmon.
Yeah, no salmon. What? Salmon? What's that? What's a frittata? And they're like, oh, it's like a quiche without crust, so no carbs.
I will say that those frittatas were about 4 inches across. 4 frittatas for like 8 people.
Yeah.
That
and they just kept coming.
Is not a meal.
No. But also, why are you giving a frittata? I thought it was a snack. Like, why am I eating a frittata really as a
Was it brunch? Lunch?
I have no. It was when they got on the boat.
It was their first meal. Yeah, if you're gonna serve those frittatas, you need to have like bacon and eggs and toast, and I guess it is eggs. But like, no, that wasn't fruit. That wasn't a meal. Ben did a mistake. He made a mistake.
Yeah, and so there's this one guy. I think Jonathan. Is his name Jonathan? I don't know. James,
Matt,
something. It was. this guy, so Chef Ben, right? Chef Ben?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm bad with names. So Chef Ben gives them a wonderful like taco looking thing of lobster, like a avocado on like a wonton.
Crema.
Of course there's crema on it. It's a mid 2010s show. Crema was the rage. I might have even said creme fraiche. It was probably creme fraiche.
Listen, if you're on a super yacht, you get served 2 tacos,
lobster tacos. These are just not. Yeah,
just 2 tacos. Again,
3. No, there were 3. It was they were lined
3.
up.
But they were like the size of street tacos. Like that's not a meal.
No,
You need to pair those with some frittatas.
But I will say those 3 with like a nice beer sounded very good when I was watching it.
Sure, at 4 p.m. on a Friday.
Yeah, I mean we're teachers. Oh my God. So he goes, I don't eat this green stuff. Just give me. And he's pointing to this like avocado, whatever. I don't eat it.
Cilantro,
just give me that white meat. That white meat be delicious, but I'm not going to eat it with everything. And everyone's just kind of giving him shit. Like, my guy, like, what are you? So the next scene is this guy taking this delicious lobster, dipping it in ketchup and eating it and acting like it's the greatest meal he's ever eaten.
And it's like a cup of ketchup and he puts like the entire... It's not right.
It's like a ramekin full of ketchup. And I'm just sitting there going, what was the note? I don't eat that.
Capital letters that says, did he dip the lobster in ketchup?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely eats like a effing toddler. I don't eat that. In caps, he dipped his lobster in the ketchup. I mean, at that point, I was like, well, I'm fucked. Like, these people are insufferable. They go to bed that night, and Kat and Sam are in Sam and CJ's bunk.
Wait, I'm going to backtrack before we start to like Sam.
Yes.
Because we're going to
oh my God, I can't believe I forgot this.
Like Sam.
I'm sorry.
The beginning, no, she is being so annoying and insufferable. They did it. Okay. The guests come on and they instantly ask for Sam to unpack every single piece of luggage in their rooms.
And not just luggage. It had tags on them. Yeah. They wanted her to press and like steam them and hang them.
So it was a terrible request. Like,
yes,
I wouldn't want. Would you want someone to do that for you? Like,
I would feel weird. I would also feel. I would feel weird. You're talking to the guy. The last time I went to Japan, I went for 2 weeks, and I packed 6 black American Apparel T-shirts, 2 pairs of shorts, and a pair of jeans. That's it. So I like travel very light.
To unpack that for you?
No, like please. But also, it's like, please. If I went to a fancy place, I'd be like, please don't touch my stuff. I can do it.
Yeah,
like, I would feel so self-conscious about. Let alone like, oh, I just bought this. Like
but what? Also, everything was like, she was like, $125. I'm like, that's not that.
No,
that's Fendi. Like, she's like, okay, those are $78 pants. She's like, ugh, it's disgusting. She kept calling them rich white trash or something crazy. She was being crazy. And then she said, having a tantrum, like, brat.
I went to school. I could do rocketry.
I can solve rockets.
I could do trig. It's like,
what do you mean you can solve rockets? And then I wrote, did someone make you take this job?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like,
but we come to find out.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I was like, bravo producers, because
they had a couple of good moments this episode.
Kat and Sam were speaking in the bunk, and Kat was like, oh, let me see all your pictures of your family, and her sister was up there, and they get into how Sam's sister had passed away, how had passed away, and it was such like a touching moment. But Kat fucking asked the most
I wrote that down too.
psychopathic questions.
The first thing she said after "How did she die?" was
the first thing.
Did they make your parents identify the body?
Sam is like borderline crying, and she goes, "Oh yeah, some guy drove her, drunk driver situation." With tears in her eyes, Kat, did they make your parents identify the body? What? Lady, what?
It was so weird.
And then,
oh God! And then Sam talks about them.
Just talks about
the body,
seeing the body, and giving her sister a kiss, and it being cold. It was.
And Kat is
bawling,
sobbing,
just
understandably.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm sure I cried the first 10 times I saw this, but since I had seen this before, I cry at the same things over and over, but somehow this time it escaped me, or I escaped it.
I think my notes say, identify the body question was the most insane thing I've ever heard. Why would you ask that? Just I guess maybe I'm just like a super introvert. Like I would never ask that, but like, what do we? Oh my God! And then morning happens, and this fucking guy at 7 a.m. has an air horn, and he wakes up his guests.
I would. The first time he did that to me would be the last time he did that to me.
I mean,
Cruel.
If anyone ever woke me up with an air horn, I would murder them. That is a note that I made. Ooh. Like what is, and he had that like, oh yeah, I'm paying for this trip, so it's my rules kind of look.
And one of his friends said like, you're on his schedule when you're on one of his trips, and I was like, okay, so you people are all
And through this whole thing, Adrian is defending him at every single junction. Every single, like, this guy is this fucking guy. Every one of her coworkers is just this fucking guy. But she's like, oh, well, if you really knew Simon, you just got to kind of stand up to him, and he won't get a kick. Lady, what?
That's like she said, you just have to let him know that you're not offended by what he says and you think it's funny, actually. And those are like my least favorite kind of people. I mean, growing up, like especially high school, you have friends who think it's fun to make fun of you, and those are not your friends, girl.
No. And I'm not a bitch. I'm just sarcastic. I heard that growing up. I mean,
I'm both.
We grew up in a very like weird, very like weird, like things were going on in the world. So I don't think we responded to it very well, but I definitely would not let somebody wake other people up with an air horn and then just defend them like that. I'd be like, oh yeah. Oh my God.
Not cute.
No. So the poor Sam. I don't know if the request, if we discussed, it wasn't just one person's clothes she had to put away and press, and it was the whole charter guests. Every guest. What?
It started with one, and then another one said, well, Sam's going to unpack our bags.
And then Adrian
said, do you want her to? Would you like her to? It was, and then when she told Sam, and Sam was getting pretty irritated and was right, Sam said they're going to be here for 2 nights. By the time I unpack and press everyone's laundry, they're going to pack it back up again.
That was their game. They just
absolutely anything else. And Adrian's like, okay, go ahead for it. Go do it.
Oh my God. So the next day, they have this kind of like beach barbecue kind of thing. The guests, it's they don't really show much at that point of like what the guests did during the day. But that night, the guests are like, the charter guests are just like, you know what? We don't want to eat here on the boat.
That we paid
That I paid,
$100,000 for.
yeah, hundreds of thousands of dollars for. I want to go eat at some bar. Okay, cool. So the crew is hyped
Because Simon specifically says, whatever you are going to serve to us, please enjoy it with the crew.
Please enjoy it with the crew. And that night, the chef was going to serve some filet mignon,
some honkin'
nice
fillets.
ones that looked delicious. So the crew has a nice meal. They're eating and everything like that. And while they're eating, the production is showing us clips of them in this bar complaining, oh, that doesn't look great. Why are we paying this money to eat here instead of on the boat? Guess what happens? They come back to the boat to eat.
And their steaks have been consumed.
Yeah. What? How is... I was speechless. As I am right now. Like, what kind of maniac? I mean, these people, these very not okay people, and Adrian is still like, well, they're still our guests the whole way. They're still our guests, Do
we know what he ended up making them?
I don't think we do. Oh, it was like a noodle. Oh, okay. So all the steaks were not consumed. I think majority of them were. So he like sliced them up and put them in some noodles, and he rolled with it like a good chef does.
Like Chef Ben would.
And then that night,
That
night, I will not repeat what Simon said because I'm skeeved out. He commented
yes.
He commented on Kat's breasts and
was extremely inappropriate.
Was so sexist and such an asshole.
Even his friends were telling him he was being too much.
They all got super uncomfortable. And then, so Kat was very not okay with this. She goes back to her room, turns the camera, and then like we just see something. Now, Dani.
Yes.
Do you think... So the big thing is after this whole thing, Kat, was acting very drunk-like. And you're not supposed to drink while on charter. You are dead. That's like the number one rule.
Big no.
And she was not okay. She was stumbling, everything like that. Do you think she was drunk?
So what is confusing, though I have obviously watched this many times, is you don't get drunk within like 5 minutes. So unless editing was like skipping out on an hour or two, like even if she went in her room and took a few shots, like that would take a little while for her to act as she
was acting.
Yeah. So it's hard to say, but CJ is right. And when she drinks, that accent comes out.
Oh my God.
And boy, did her accent come out.
It was like Superman. It was like Clark Kent going into the phone booth and out comes Superman. She went into a room and out came Rhode Island Kat. Yeah. It was like Catherine came out. And that accent was crazy. And they made her go to bed. Adrian was flipping out the whole time.
Adrian actually seemed genuinely distraught, like not just angry, but feeling sad.
Do you think she was sad? Why do you think she was sad?
Well, I know what she said was, if I tell on her, I'm going to tell on her.
Yeah.
She's going to lose her job and I'm not going to have her here to work with me.
Yeah. It was so like within her own shit. Like, oh no, I'm not going to have somebody who listens to me without any guff.
Yeah. Who's going to be the buffer between me and Sam now?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what I would do if I was Adrian. I would probably be like, listen, not like, what the hell? I would like handle it. I probably within house. But as
I
we'll
think you
see.
gotta tell. You gotta
You think you
tell.
got to tell Lee?
Well, listen. I think you have to tell him that you suspect it, just like you have to tell if you find white powder in a rolled up dollar bill.
Okay. Well, it's,
I just think because they could be in trouble.
okay.
I don't know. We
Or
hate
do you wait
Adrian
and
and
see
we
if the
like Kat.
charter ends and everything's, okay? I don't know. But then so the episode ends mid charter,
To be
to be
continued.
continued, and the scenes from next week are shots of them in a bar talking to the captain. You know what, guys? Is this the end for Kat? We don't know.
Stay tuned.
We don't.
Stay tuned.
Yeah, we have to stay tuned. I don't know. I guess, yeah, I would probably tell Captain. I would be like, especially if these cameras were around, I'd be like, oh yeah,
Yeah, because I guess if he happens to find, well, what she said was, I think she said if only I had seen it, it might be different. But the whole crew saw.
yeah,
And like
that's a good
CJ
point.
said, I didn't see her drink, but she's acting like a cuckoo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
She was being very silly with Eddie and Dave. And
yes. What do you think of Eddie and Dave?
I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Eddie's so young. We see Eddie in the future for
Oh, really?
a long time. Mm-hmm. And he is just like such a little infant baby in this season.
Yeah, he looks like a child.
He's like not easy being green. Like he's very.
Not
They
easy
both
being-
get. They both get, the crappy jobs. They're bottom of the barrel. They're just decks. They're just deckhands. They're not lead deckhands. They're not bosuns. They're not officers or engineers. They're
greenhorns, if you will.
Ooh.
From, if I may borrow from Deadliest Catch, greenhorns are the first time on a fishing boat.
I mean, I think they're pretty close.
Yeah.
Besides the whaling boats, right? Eddie's family has whale history and whaling boats. I don't really know what that means. Is that like
like hunting whales for food?
Oh, come on. Pilgrims.
One of my favorite parts, like just a throwaway part of the episode, Alex is standing on like the ledge area and Lee, get out off
Like
there.
right in front of the windows or like the grid.
Like the bow of the ship, if you will.
Yeah.
And Lee's like, it's like standing on the hood of a car when you're trying to pull out the tree. Thanks, Captain Lee.
My favorite Captain Lee moment from this episode was when he told CJ to get his hair under control or he would have to get him some barrettes.
Some barrettes. Oh man, I think that needs to be a segment every week. Our favorite Captain Lee moment. Favorite Lee moment. And let me tell you, my favorite Lee moment for next week's is just.
You've already got it.
I already got it locked and loaded, and it's hilarious because
he throughout the years has some of the best like weird one-liners, bits of advice, colloquialisms, if you will, that are just so only Captain Lee could get away with this nonsense.
Well, that was season 1, episode 4, luggage everywhere,
and not a drop to drink,
and not a drop to drink,
except for Kat.
For Kat.
Allegedly.
We don't know. Allegedly. I'm not even going to comment on that. We'll see. But thank you for joining us. It's been a wonderful recap, and we'll see you next time for episode 5. Later.